Wow.
Okay, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Complete Sports Meetings Podcast. I'm your host, Darren Campbell, and joining me on a beautiful Monday afternoon. It's nice to be able to get these done in the afternoon. It does shorten my preparedness time and make it a little bit more stressful today, but great to have you on a Monday, May the 1st. Can you believe it's already May? We had such a glorious, beautiful weekend. Not as nice sunny-wise today, but really nice to have that sun this weekend, wasn't it?
No, it was beautiful. It was beautiful. It was great. I did get out for a little bit there on Saturday, and I saw outside, and I was like, "Wow, this is great." But I think that's enough sun for me. Got to protect my skin. You know what I mean?
That's awesome.
What did you get up to? What did you
do? Well, just hanging out with some friends and just we just it was pretty chill. Mostly I can think of sports, watched a ton of sports. It was nice that we were able to finally see some series wrap up in the NBA, some actual series start, cup game ones, and UFC. I saw some bare knuckle fighting, which was pretty good actually. Watched a lot of hockey. There was game sevens littering the weekend. Tons of great, incredible games there. And I love this time of year when the NBA playoffs and the NHL playoffs are neck and neck, and there's so many games that mean something, especially when it comes down to a game seven in a series. There's just nothing better in North American sports to watch a game seven and know that it's do or die for each team, and usually see some really epic battles. That game yesterday between Golden State and Sacramento, it was neck and neck for a while until Steph just put his foot on the gas and just absolutely torched them. One of the most incredible performances, and it comes just a week or so after Jimmy Butler put on that performance he did. This one was just so goddamn epic. He was just say, "Hey, I'm not done yet. What can you say now? Here we go." And to shoot 20 of 38, get 7 threes, get 50 points, the most ever in a game seven, and just say, hey, I'm making sure this team gets into the second round at least, and probably farther. And this is one of the most fun, incredible performances I ever witnessed.
It was one of the best series I've watched so far. It was, the series is so good that I'm this is just me talking, but I'd love to see this again next year. Yeah. I'd love to see these two teams meet up again next year, do the same thing, because the series was excellent to watch. An unheralded player for the Warriors that doesn't get enough credit for the job that he did with rebounding the ball was Kayvon. Yeah. Kayvon Mooney in 3 games had 20 plus rebounds, and including in the 7th game, ended up with 21 rebounds. I think like 10 offensive rebounds, 11 defensive rebounds. Yeah, I think he was like the 3rd person ever to do that in a game 7.
Yeah. So. Yeah, it hadn't been done since 2008 by Dwight Howard, Charles Barkley, and I think Will Chamberlain, was it? That had those 3 20-point performances in a series. And this is a guy that's 6'9", doesn't have a shot, but just absolutely has more heart than anybody out there, has more will and desire to get that ball. And there was many times where, Sabonis was there in a better position than him, and he just had way more desire to get that ball. And I saw Mike Brown say it in the timeouts a couple times, like, hey guys, like, we got to show more desire, more will to get that ball. They're out hustling us, they're out rebounding us, they need it, or they want it more, so let's turn this around and show you guys you want it more. And Kayvon just ripped the heart out of them so many times where they thought they had the rebound, and he just completely came and took it away from them on free throw misses, on really contested shots. He was in there. He was just an absolute beast. And this is a guy that's, you know, undersized for a center. And he's the 39th highest paid center in the NBA. 39th. So, and we only have these 30 teams. So, like, this is crazy, incredible. And he was just as integral as Steph was, you know, scoring the ball, because if he doesn't get most of those, they're not getting buckets. They're not, you know, keeping ahead, and they're not winning these games.
Yeah, no, they're not getting their second chance points. Like even when Steph did that, the relocation, he did the quick outlet to Kayvon, and Kayvon just immediately passed it out to him to the 3-pointer. And I'm like, isn't somebody supposed to be guarding that guy? Oh, it's too late, and it's in the bucket. Like, there's one thing I was just watching Reggie Miller talking about, giving obviously Stephen Curry his flowers on Dan Patrick show.
Nice.
He said something that was actually pretty poignant, which is, you have to remember he took 38 shots. 20 and 38. Do you have any idea how much work that is to do that? How much supreme shape he has to be in to get up 40 quality shots? Pretty much. And you forget about that he is in that good of shape to do that for the course of the game. I think personally, he just wore out the Sacramento Kings, where they're just like, he just keeps coming at us. What do you expect us to do?
He broke their will. He broke their spirit.
You
know, I saw Davis come up to him after and just say, like, holy crap, what the hell? Wow, what did you just do to us? You know, it's a really good point of yours, because I started wondering if Game 7, all these young legs, fresher than these guys, you know, the Warriors have been in the finals 6 out of the last 8 years. They've been, you know, so many long playoff runs. This is a 10-year stretch that they've really dominated basketball in so many ways. And you know, you thought maybe the young legs were finally ready to take over these old legs, but Steph is so dynamic. And the great thing about him is that he constantly pushed himself to be better. He was, you know, everybody said after 1 or 2 years, especially when he won his MVPs, they were like, greatest shooter that's ever been created. And he still pushed himself to get better. He's so good at, he scored 22 points in the paint. He's so good at driving. He's so good at dribbling the ball. He's so good at finding open holes. He's not just a shooter. And he's working so hard, even when he gives up the basketball. He's just constantly moving and moving and moving till he's open somewhere for somebody to find him if they need him. And, you know, I love how much bigger and stronger he's got. He's put on a lot of muscle, a lot of size. He's able to actually push guys off of him. He's able to slide through those holes and not, you know, when he gets physical contact, it doesn't hurt him, take him down. He is, he's just a masterful athlete that I'm glad realized he had to just keep improving. Every offseason, he just took it to another level. And we haven't seen this kind of dominance for so many years. Like when the Spurs dominated, they had, you know, that core that just kept coming at you. And you just knew you're going to have to see them every year if you wanted to win a championship. We saw it with Jordan, obviously, during his heyday. But Steph has just taken it to this next level. And you and I always talk about LeBron James, how much of a freak of nature he is, and it's incredible what he's doing at 38. We got to remember Steph is 35, and he's still, you know, I think the best player in basketball. He won the MVP of the finals last year, and that's everybody talks about rings and being the best when you win a ring. He won it again last year, and he's on track again to win it this year. I think they can dispatch the Lakers, and I think they can keep making this run go on. And he really proved again that, you know, don't forget about me, you guys. We had a bad season on the road, and, you know, put us down to the 6th seed. But hey, you know, it doesn't matter. We're in the conference semifinals, and we got home court advantage here too. Isn't that great?
Yeah, no, they have home court advantage, and like he's amazing in his own way, which is, you know what? I'll use like MMA as an example. He has a gas tank that won't quit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like he's a cardio machine. He's got a gas tank that just won't quit. So you have these defenders for the Kings. They're just going, where is he? And they're just like, and they're constantly running. Like they're literally running a marathon throughout the entirety of the game. They're just like, okay, what's going on here? The guy doesn't stop moving, and that's a credit to him that he can actually do that for as long as he needs to for the entirety of the game, and he's amazing. Like it's just another level that he can reach in his legendary Hall of Fame career, and we're just seeing it again. Another gem, gem. Steph Curry.
He absolutely renewed my love of basketball. I have always loved basketball, but there have been some dips in my interest because sometimes the games really started getting very bogged down, and it was just, very low scoring and not exciting basketball. Masai Ujiri this year, when he fired Nick Nurse in the press conference after, he said, I found myself most of the time this year watching our team and thinking, this isn't fun basketball to watch. And I was thinking that so often this year when I watch the Raptors, I'm like, this is crappy. This is not fun basketball. I'm not enjoying watching this game. And I watch the Warriors and I'm completely zoned in, completely watching every minute of the game because Steph is going to do some spectacular stuff at some point, and I don't want to miss it. And I find myself rewinding it because I want to see what he just did and how he got to that spot. And it's making basketball so fun. And it's great to see that the Warriors nation is just spreading across the world, and more people appreciating what he's bringing to the game and making it so exciting.
Yes, and the fact that it's acceptable for, well, it should always be acceptable for the greatest shooter that we've ever seen to jack up as many threes as he needs. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Like it literally doesn't matter. He by the way, he tossed up 18. 18.
Yeah.
Like, in what time when I was watching basketball would I ever think that I'd see a player go, oh, he tossed up 18 threes?
Yeah.
18 attempts, but that's where we live right now. That's what we like to see. And also just looking for the Sacramento Kings, like you want to talk about exciting basketball.
Sure.
Both those teams, that's exciting basketball.
Yeah.
That's the kind of basketball you want to see, where they share the ball. Like for the Kings and the Warriors, it's like looking in the mirror, especially with their offensive packages that they have. It literally is.
Yeah.
Kind of on the same sort of stuff.
Sure.
I loved the series. It was such a great series, and I can't wait to see what the Warriors and Lakers have in store for us. I really can't. It's gonna be
I do see the Kings molding themselves after the Warriors and trying to develop a team like that. Why wouldn't you? Because look at the success and look at how basketball's going after the Warriors came and changed the game. I love this series. I thought it was incredible. It's great to see the highest scoring team in the NBA come in against, the third highest scoring team, and just to see them go mano a mano. I always thought the Kings probably wouldn't win this series because their defense isn't good enough, and they're going to need a few guys like Gary Payton II. They're going to need a Wiggins. They're going to need a guy like Green or Looney. Sabonis is great, but he's not good inside trying to get those rebounds. He's not, a guy you need. You need another guy that's going to, muck it up inside like Kevon Looney brings. But we've seen it a lot over the years where these teams emerge. Suddenly, they go up against the guy and get knocked down, but they come back the next year and they vanquish them, or it takes them 2 or 3 years and they finally do. And I see the Kings finally being relevant, finally, having an opportunity to show their, young guns, and 2 All-Stars, phenomenal year to, finish as high as they did in the standings and really renew the love of the game there. They're lighting this beam, and I was so happy that they didn't light it again the last couple of games. But you know, it's nice to see another sort of outlier. You know, Siberia in basketball terms, no playoffs for 19 years, finally joined the fray, and the fans there were amazing. It was an electric building for the entire run.
Yeah, it was absolutely electric. Kings fans should be ecstatic for the future of that franchise. Like going forward, they're just got to be over the moon because this is everything to build upon now. Everything. Yeah. They have a core, they have a foundation. Now they just got to mix and match some pieces here and there just to continually improve their team. And then maybe that's it. Maybe it's the Warriors that they have to get over. Yeah. Once they get over that hump, who knows what the future brings, but they have to, you know, all these teams always have to go through the growing pains, right? Sure. And maybe for the Kings, this is their growing pain. And I think this is just, it's instrumental for their growth to have a series like this, where it's like, okay, we're close, but that championship pedigree right there, that's where we want to be.
Sure. Yeah. They finished 48-34 on the season, third in the West. That was an 18-win increase over last year. As I said, they hadn't won a playoff series since 2004, hadn't been in there for 19 years. De'Aaron Fox, Kevin Huerter, and Keegan Murray are all under contract through 25-26 season, so some of their core. The only free agent prominent guy is Harrison Barnes. We'll see. He struggled a bit in that last game, and so did Malik Monk, who was, you know, pretty dynamic off the bench and had really supplied them with a lot of really good minutes and a lot of good score. He struggled. Terrence Davis stepped up, and a guy that really was not known very much finally got an opportunity in Game 6, played super well. They've got Trey Lyles, the Canadian Saskatoon product, hit a few threes and was pretty damn tough on the boards. Really went inside and got a lot, but this team's got a bench, and they've got, you know, some pieces, and looks like their core is locked up for a while. So yeah, I think, you know, the sky's the limit for them. They had to come up against the defending champs, and were finally beaten 7. I think this was important also for the Warriors to have some adversity, prove to the world that they could win on the road, prove to themselves they could win on the road. And I think if they would have just swept them out of the first round, or it seemed easy, complete blowouts, maybe they don't get playoff hardened so quick. I think this series against the Lakers is going to be tough. I think whoever wins out of Denver, Phoenix, it's going to be even tougher. You know, but I think this was very, very big and a step for the Warriors to prove to themselves and others that they can go all the way again.
Yeah, no, it definitely proved to themselves that they. Sorry.
Okay.
And for Curry, if there was ever a doubt for him, I think I don't think he's ever doubted himself. He knows, if I need to bring it up, I can do that. I can do that at a moment's notice. And if those guys need me, then I am there. Not a problem.
Yeah, it was so fun to watch. It definitely just was the most exciting game of the season so far for me, and so great to see him. And they put up the graphic of all the guys that have scored, you know, Game 7 highest, and I see KD up there, number 1, and I'm like, okay, just get 50. Like, come on, just pass him, just get 50. You know, because Steve Kerr was looking at him like, should I pull him out? You know, we're up by 20. Should I pull him out? And, you know, luckily he just left him in there to pass them all, be on the top of the mountain like he is in so many categories, so many records. But you know, I looked at the record and saw Kevin Durant up there from 2021 with Brooklyn, Sam Jones 47, Dominique Wilkins 47, Luka Doncic 46, Kevin Johnson 46. Curry had a 45 already, so he was on the list, tied with LeBron James, who had done it a couple times. But so nice that, you know, you're seeing it 42, 45, 48, and all of a sudden, bam, he gets to 50. And and he's on top of the mountain. It was pretty neat.
Yeah, it was pretty neat. And I was surprised, actually. There was one name that surprised me in that list, which was Dominique. But I was just like, oh, Wilkins coming in strong with a 47-point performance. Totally forgot about that. But hey, my hats off to the Warriors, man. Like, again, this was a fantastic series to watch. It was just so entertaining, so engaging. And then for the crowning moment was Steph with his 50-piece. So awesome.
So now it's the Lakers. Game starts tomorrow. They tip off at 7:00 our time, 10:00 Eastern. Lakers come in 7th seed in the West, so they will be the visiting team again. Great to see the Warriors getting home court advantage, because definitely on the road this year they haven't been good. They did win those last 2 games in Sacramento, but what do you see now? How do you see this series playing out? We've saw LeBron and Steph face each other 4 times in the NBA Finals. Steph winning 3 of them, LeBron winning 1. These franchises haven't met in the playoffs, other than a play-in game a couple years ago, since 1991, which is pretty bizarre and crazy. But Steph and LeBron have, had these battles against each other. Steph has come out on the winning end more often than LeBron. And, I think the Warriors, I'm going to favor, but do you think the Lakers could upset them and take the series as well?
I favor the Warriors as well.
Okay.
I think one of the question marks to this entire series is going to be Anthony Davis. I think a lot of the Lakers' success will be predicated upon how Anthony Davis plays throughout the entirety of the series. Like, he can't just show up for 1 or 2 games. Like, he's got to be there supporting LeBron throughout the entirety of the series if the Lakers have a chance to win. And I think, like, if AD has some bad games, those are the games that the Warriors will definitely steal.
Yeah,
I think that's without a shadow of a doubt.
Yeah, I'm a bit worried in that aspect that Kevon Looney, with his lack of height next to Davis, won't be able to pull down 20 boards very often, if at all. If Davis plays a maximum amount of minutes and stays healthy, he has that height advantage, and I think he has the ability to pull down a ton of rebounds himself. So that advantage that the Warriors had against the Kings won't be there against the Lakers. But I think LeBron has a lot of amazing attributes and a lot of things that give him a big advantages, but I don't think his attributes give him an advantage against a lot of the shooters that the Warriors can employ. And I think it's going to be challenging and difficult. Who do you see LeBron defending in the series for the most part?
I would say that they would probably put LeBron Wiggins. That's what I would say. Wiggins, but they're going to do a lot of switching anyways. So like I think they're going to try to keep LeBron in the key so as a presence to block shots for anybody driving, along with Anthony Davis, because he can do that too when he's totally engaged on the defensive end. It doesn't happen all the time now because of his age and because of the fact that he pulls back a little bit to conserve something for the end of the game, right? So I would say, yeah, but I think he's going to float a lot too as well. And it's going to be hard for him to get out to all these shooters, though, because if there's one thing that the Golden State has, they got a lot of shooters. And also, too, I wanted to add, Jordan Poole was not very good in this series against the Kings.
I was just thinking the exact same thing. Wanted to mention that. Yeah, I don't know what's wrong with Poole. Yeah, he wasn't good at all. I didn't see him shine in any games, and I just really thought that he felt out of control almost all the time. When he was driving the ball, he didn't have a plan. It was just going, try to drive and hope I get a hoop. But lots of offensive fouls on him, lots of really ridiculous shots that weren't going to go in, and he just looked lost out there.
Yeah. And that's why I'll give him an X factor. He could be an X factor for the Golden State. Like, if he can turn around his game and actually maybe just simplify what he was trying to do. Like, just just simplify the game for himself. You know what I mean? And if he can do that and give the Warriors that kind of like shooting and the kind of scoring that he can provide, he's able to do that. If he can do that, that's gonna make the Lakers to win this series even harder. It's gonna make their job so much tougher.
In that game 7, I was surprised how much Clay and Andrew Wiggins struggled with their shot. They were off. Both of them were very off. And it's tough when, your second and third options for scoring are both off. That's why Steph had to step up and get his 50. I think Wiggins has had an okay series. I thought really good defensively. He seems still off from maybe that long layoff and just not being sharp. Clay, he'll be able to be dynamic probably 1 or 2 games and score 30 or more. But we need Wiggins for sure to, just get that little bit more sharper on the offensive end.
Yeah. Consistency, right? Like, they just need that consistency from him because Stephen Curry is going to do Stephen Curry cool stuff, right? And then also, too, if Thompson could be more consistent instead of having these sporadic, like 1, 2, or 3 games where he scores 30, if he could be more consistent throughout the entirety of the series, that would help up Curry quite a bit.
Yeah. I was a little surprised that we saw Draymond back in the starting lineup in game 7 after coming off the bench in game 5 and game 6. Do you see them switching it up maybe after a loss, trying to bring Draymond off the bench again, or do you just think Steve Kerr is just going to roll out those 5 guys consistently every game?
I think they might just roll out the 5 guys consistently just to combat the height that the Lakers have on them, because the Lakers are a bigger team, and I think that Draymond needs to start so that he can combat them with his defense.
Yeah, his defense was pretty dynamic in a lot of the series and was a big factor. I love that Steve Kerr is the coach of the Warriors. I love that he went through all those long playoff runs with the Bulls and Michael Jordan, and then he goes to the Spurs and is part of that organization when they go on their run. He just seems like such an amazing presence there, and just a perfect guy for this organization to keep on this run. 10 years of brilliance, and I think Steve Kerr has to get a lot of credit for what they've done and how they've been able to do it.
Yeah, I think he gets a ton of credit for that. And also, too, making sure that the offense is tailored towards his, like, Hall of Fame guards. Because he was a shooter as well. He understands movement and shooting and everything else. So to make sure that they have an offense that's geared towards that, it's brilliant.
Yeah.
That's actually genius. Playing towards your player's strengths. That's exactly what he does. So, yeah, he should get a ton of credit. Should get a ton of credit every year.
Yeah. Okay, why don't we switch to the other matchup in the West? We've seen 1 game between the Denver Nuggets and the Phoenix Suns. Basically, Jamal Murray became the bubble Murray again and was able to just really be that dynamic. Anytime Phoenix started making a run towards making this game close, Jamal just took the ball and scored at will. Was super dynamic, and the main reason why Denver got victory number 1 in the opening game.
Yeah, Jamal Murray was amazing. 34 points, 5 rebounds, 9 assists. He did it all. He scored at all levels. And Jokic, as a partner, makes it easier for him because that guy can he's a savant when it comes to passing the basketball. So, and Jokic had a great game as well, 24 points, 19 rebounds, 5 assists. But with Jokic, even in this game, you just didn't really notice that he was scoring the ball the way he takes instances in the game where it's like, oh, I guess the team needs me to score. And then he'll score. And he'll just do it that easily. And I think this is going to be a very, very hard series for the Suns because they don't have the depth that the Nuggets have. They don't have the amount of players because the Nuggets can just keep coming at you in waves because they have a very, very strong roster. I think it's going to be tough again for the Suns, for Durant and Booker. You know, they had pretty good games. Durant 29 points, 14 rebounds. Booker had 27 points, along with 8 assists. But the thing is, they're asking those two guys to do that for the entirety of the game, where the Nuggets players get chances to rest.
Sure.
And I think that's going to be the huge difference in this series, where the Suns are asking those two to do it all the time, where the Nuggets don't necessarily have to do it all the time. They can have other guys step up, like Michael Porter Jr. or whatever. They have other guys that can score 20, 25, 30 points in a game.
Yeah. Yeah, just trying to get Kevin Durant in the fold. The Suns had to give up so much of their bench, so much of the depth that they have. So they are very thin, and these guys are going to get tired. Durant, I thought, had an awesome game. 14 rebounds and 29 points. That's super impressive. I didn't really love DeAndre Ayton's game. I don't know what occurred there, but Chris Paul looked a bit off to me. Just didn't seem to take over and be that dynamic point guard that they need him to be. And their bench is just getting outplayed big time by the Nuggets. KCP, Bruce Brown, Jeff Green, and Braun coming in and all bringing a lot to the table. It's such a pleasure, I'm sure, for the Nuggets to see that. And I think in a long drawn out series, I think it's going to be crucial, keeping some of these guys fresh, not playing tons of minutes. For Jokic only to play 33 minutes in a nice, easy victory, that's got to be huge for him this time of the season. And I was sort of surprised. I thought this game would be really super competitive, going down to maybe one of the two last possessions, but Denver just showed that, hey, we were number one seed for a reason. And I really think seeing Aaron Gordon play really well, Jamal Murray played amazing, Jokic played just terrific. This team has a lot more than the Suns can maybe deliver. I think this will be a long series, and there'll be games where Booker and KD just go off, and there's no way that they can compete with them. But good on Denver to get that first victory under their belt.
Yeah, great on Denver. And again, Jokic just makes the game easier. Like, the guys are just going to have wide open shots because of his wizardry with passing the basketball, as opposed to the Suns. It just seems that they just have to work so much harder on offense to get the shots that they need to get. And on top of that, they don't take a lot of threes, whereas Jokic will spray it out to these guys, and they have wide open threes.
Yeah,
wide open. Yeah. And that's another big difference in this. That's going to be a big difference in this series.
Yeah, I think that's one of the main reasons I think that a lot of voters voted MVP for Jokic the last 2 years is just his diversity, just his ability to not only score and rebound, but just be such a facilitator and playmaker and give those wide open looks to his guards and his forwards. And this was a very interesting game. But game one, game two goes tonight, 7:00 tip off here on the West Coast, 10:00 in the East. Man, I'm glad I don't live in the East. Every time I hear about those late starts, I would be sleeping until noon every day and staying up till the wee hours of the morning. Maybe I still do that, but imagine having your basketball game starting at 10:00, the UFC starting at 10:00. Like, that's not great, is it?
No, that's a little rough, man. It's a little rough, especially if you're looking at the clock going, oh man, I do have to go to work tomorrow. This is gonna suck.
Yeah. Okay, let's switch to the East here. We have one game tonight, Boston, Philly. Let's get to that in a second. Tip-off is 4:00 here, about an hour away from where we sit. And but we've had one game in the Miami-New York series. Miami came in out of the play-in, first team to emerge from the play-in and get a playoff berth, knocking off the Milwaukee Bucks in 5 games after Jimmy Butler just went incredibly off and just was able to just will this team to victory. Goes into New York, Madison Square Garden, rabid crowd, tons of celebrities there. and ripped the heart out of the Knicks fans right away with another victory. He didn't have, one of those super incredible 40, 50 pointers, but was just a solid presence, able to really be there for the team and get a big win in game 1 in MSG.
Yes, he got a big win, and he was the leading scorer on the Heat, 25 points, 11 rebounds, 4 assists. He didn't need to do all of what he had to do in the previous series for this, at least for this game.
Yeah.
And he had support from his backcourt. And that was the other thing that really stood out to me was that Gabe Vincent, Kyle Lowry outplayed the backcourt of the Knicks.
Yeah.
They were better. They were better than them. Even though Brunson had 25 points and along with 7 assists, but Kyle Lowry, 18 points, 5 rebounds, 6 assists. Gabe Vincent, 20 points, 2 rebounds, 5 assists. I will say this. If that consistently happens throughout the course of this playoffs between the Heat and the Knicks, if the Heat guards can outplay the Knicks guards, the Knicks will lose this series.
Yeah.
I'll say that right now. They are going to lose this series if that continues to happen.
Jalen Brunson in the post game press conference, he took the blame upon himself. He said he absolutely played horrible. I didn't think he played super bad, but he really took it hard. He was 25, 5 and 7 assists. And but you're right. Their backcourt did get outplayed. Gabe Vincent, going from an undrafted guy, had to fight his way through the G League and get himself into the league. Being basically a scorer first in his entire career before stepping into Miami, was able to really, just be the guy there. And it was super impressive. Kyle Lowry having to adjust to a new role lately, coming off the bench, but bringing a lot when he does come off the bench. It's great to see the 37-year-old still be able to bring it and do really well when he gets his minutes. And this was huge for Miami. New York had a ton of momentum going in, home court advantage, and Jimmy Butler didn't have to put up 30, 40, 50 points. This was big. The only worry I guess I have now is how badly is Jimmy Butler's ankle after rolling it near the end of the game, about 5 minutes left. He played most of the rest of the game, but he looked hobbled. Obviously, we've both rolled ankles and they swell up on you. They feel worse the next day. Even 2 days later, they feel even worse than that. We've seen Julius Randle have to miss this game because he rolled his ankle. This will be very, very, very tough on Miami if Jimmy has to miss any time.
Yeah, because if Jimmy has to miss any time, like that's going to be almost impossible for them to win that game without him. Like, I think he's integral to everything that they do, like absolutely everything. So it's going to be very, very hard for them to win without Jimmy Butler. It'll be interesting to see for the next game if Jimmy Butler will be available, if he'll play. And also, too, going forward, whenever Julius Randle will come back to the team, that's another question mark. Because clearly, to me, they need all of their guns to go, and they need Julius Randle back in the lineup for the Knicks to be successful.
The only thing that I noticed was there's a long stretch between game 2 and game 3. They've already wrestled home court advantage away from New York. So if they rest him, their third game is not till Saturday. They play tomorrow, 4:30 tip, but they don't play again until Saturday back in Miami. So that if they do decide, give them some time, make it heal 100%. If we lose, we got to split. We're going home. That's quite a nice long stretch for him before game 3.
Yeah, and that works both ways. That would go for Julius Randle and for Butler. So for them to have that much time off, that would be invaluable. So that we might see that. We might see that.
I think Julius Randle struggled in that first round, but I think he is important and integral to this team having the success and being able to beat a very deep Heat team.
Yeah, no, I think he's definitely integral. I think he was slowed up because he was still dealing with that ankle injury, because clearly I don't think it was completely healed.
Yeah.
And so I think it's whatever he can give you. Like whatever that guy can give you, I think it's still needed. I think the Knicks still need whatever he can give you.
Yeah. Mitchell Robinson, been a beast like Kevon Looney we talked about earlier, but holy crap, is his shot terrible. I can't even believe how bad his free throw shots look. Somebody like, come on, teach the guy how to shoot the ball a little bit. Like he's just kind of like throwing it at the hoop, just hoping it has no arc on it. It's flat as hell. And it's one of the worst shots I've seen in years. Shaquille O'Neal comes to mind. I have a few other guys come to mind, but this is one terrible looking shot.
Maybe he needs to incorporate the Mason Plumlee strategy, which is shoot left. Shoot left. Yeah, because all of a sudden Plumlee started doing that and he shot over 70%. So maybe that's what he needs to do. He's like, right hand, can't do it. Let's go lefty.
Yeah. I think I'd go with the granny shots and probably be better than the left. But yeah, it was horrible to watch. And I'd be fouling him all the time. Every time he got the ball, I'd be sending him to the line because you're not getting any points down at that end. That would be my strategy if I was Eric Spoelstra and this Knicks and this Heat team. Yeah, it's gonna be an interesting series. I'm really excited about it. It's pretty crazy that it's the number 8 team making it, but looking like they're the team to beat in this already. Okay, why don't we just touch on the Boston Philly game series? Game 1 goes tonight. Obviously the biggest story is Joel Embiid being out. Probably they say he's doubtful for tonight. This sprained knee that he has is giving him tons of trouble, and Philly has no shot if he doesn't come back. They want Tyrese Maxey and James Harden to, shoulder the load and try to help, but Boston's too deep, too much weapons for Philly to win without their MVP and their inside guy. This is really, this sucks so bad for Philly that Embiid's hurt, and hopefully he can go, but it looks right now that he's doubtful for game 1.
Yeah. I guess the question mark for the 76ers is how many games does he miss in this series? Because even if he misses, hopefully he doesn't miss 3 games. He misses 3 games, forget it. 76ers ain't winning the series. It's over. Yeah. It's literally over. So that's the question for me. It's like whenever they're able to get him back, that's when you can say the series is on. But as long as he's out, and this is Boston's to lose. This is Boston's series to lose.
Yeah. These two matching up is the most ever by 2 franchises in playoff battles. This is their 22nd meeting ever in the history. Boston is 14-7. I've won 14 series, Philly 7, and Boston's won the last 5. So big advantage, obviously. And especially being pretty much 100% healthy. This could go quickly, especially if Embiid misses 2 or 3 games. This will not be a good series. If he comes back, I guess it's just knowing how healthy he is, how many minutes he can absorb and shoulder the load. Can he be his dynamic MVP-like self? And I guess that's going to be just a wait and see approach for this.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a wait and see approach, and hopefully he can come back and he's not slowed down by the injury, because they're going to need him to be at full capacity to beat this excellent Celtics team.
There feels like more injuries this playoffs than most playoffs, and very big dynamic players for the teams that they're missing out. Yeah,
it does. And as I've said before, if your best players cannot play in these series, you're not going to win. No. It's just period. You're just not going to win. Injuries suck, but sometimes you know what, you have to will yourself to try to do what you can if you want to continue to go forward.
Yeah, so reminder, 76ers Celtics game, 4:30 tip-off here in the Pacific region. And then the second game tonight, Suns Nuggets tip-off about 7. Games tomorrow, game 2, Heat and Knicks, 4:30 tip-off. Late game, Lakers Warriors game 1. We tried to meet up the other day at this great bar. I've mentioned it a couple times. It's called Courtside. First time we've had a just designated basketball bar. No other sports ever shown on any of their screens except basketball. Basketball memorabilia in there. 99.9% of the people in there just hoop fans. We were supposed to meet up, and I sat there and looked at the door about 150 times, thinking you were coming walking through. I had my phone die, and I couldn't charge it up. You didn't receive my text about when we were supposed to meet, and you never came. We got to do it now. We've got to make a plan. I think Thursday might be the day we're supposed to meet for lunch Thursday. And maybe we get an opportunity to go and see. Thursday will be game 2 between Lakers Warriors. It's a 6 o'clock tip off, so maybe that's when we meet. But man, that was just brutal that night. I couldn't believe it. I was just like, Jason bailed on me. Why would he bail on me? Crap! What the hell happened? And you were like, oh, that's weird. Darren didn't tell me where we're meeting, and he won't respond. This is strange. It was one of those weird situations that doesn't really happen anymore because we all have cell phones. But when you don't have a cell phone, it's just you're not in communication with the outside world, really.
Yeah, no. And the funny thing is, for me, my thought process was clearly something came up. Clearly something happened to this guy, because texting. I'm just like, nothing's happening. So I'm like, all right, these things happen. Like something can happen. I don't know what it was. And I was just like, I just hope the dude's okay. We'll talk to him later point. But I do love your idea of going and watching the game after we meet up with our friends on Thursday. I think that's great. And plus, on top of that, we're going to be very close to the spot, right?
Yeah, it might be just perfect. Yeah, I think it'll it should work out. It's unfortunate there's only the one game that day. It's nice when there's 2 games back to back. The night I was there was 2 games early, 2 games late, and it was amazing, incredible atmosphere. One of the owners said it was the best that entire bar has ever had since they opened. The only game that he compared it to was when LeBron set the all-time scoring record, passing Wilt Chamberlain earlier in the year. He said that was just electric and dynamic. And there are a lot of Lakers fans in the city, all across the world, really, but there are a lot of Lakers fans in the city, and I saw them quite a bit the last few times I've been there. So it might be just 50-50 Lakers and Warriors fans in there. So we could be involved in some heated discussions with people, but it'll be fun.
Yeah, it will be fun. And also too, I did want to just point to the Lakers closing out the Grizzlies. All right, Dylan Brooks saying, I don't respect anybody that doesn't give me 40. Okay, so I did need to say this. Dylan Brooks does not represent all of us Canadians. All right. Number one, first off and foremost, he does
good
not.
Point. Very good.
Because we are smarter, or at least I would love to think, no. We are smarter than that.
Yeah.
We don't pull on Superman's cape and say, hey, buddy, why aren't you doing anything?
You're old.
What are you talking about? He scored the most points ever.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah.
In the history of the game. And you want to talk some junk to that guy. You want to talk noise to that guy. You want to be in this dude's face. When actually what you should be is like, I've always respected you, LeBron. I love your game. Let's have a good series.
Yeah.
Right. And then you keep your mouth shut for the entirety of the series.
Yeah.
That's how you do it. All right.
He definitely did give Canadians a bad name, and I'm glad you pointed that out. He does not represent our country, and how brilliant and smart we typically are. This is an outlier. One of those guys we might just toss down south and say, you're not welcome back. It was really stupid. He wouldn't even meet with the media after the games as well, those last 2 losses. And the NBA announced today that they fined him $25,000 for not meeting with the media to face the music. He opened his big yap and said a lot of really stupid things, and then he wouldn't back it up after he couldn't deliver. And this is a guy that his shot's terrible too. Like every single time he jacked up a shot, I thought, why are you shooting? Like they should be just like putting rules on him. You do not shoot until you learn how to shoot. He is one horrifically bad shooter. And yeah, he really screwed up and messed up this Grizzlies franchise that is a dynamic team, like the Kings. And, I can see them emerging. John Morant's got to smarten up and get a lot smarter too. And this team, really did a lot of dumb things, made a lot of bad decisions this year. None worse than Dylan Brooks tugging on Superman's cape and making this horrifically stupid move. There was a lot of other guys he could have picked on, not LeBron.
Not LeBron, man. And also too, like, you said all these things, so own up to it instead of acting like a coward and hiding away from like your responsibilities of what you said. Yeah. Don't do that. Like, if you want to talk all you want, but also to be accountable for what you said.
Yeah.
All right? So that's all I got to say. And I love the fact that LeBron wasn't even going to give Dylan Brooks any attention whatsoever. He's like, because I remember there was a post conference. They asked about Dylan Brooks. He goes, "Yeah, I'm not talking about that. Move on." Because and absolutely you should. You want to know why? Because I'm LeBron James. I don't care about him.
Yeah, right.
It doesn't affect me.
I hear you. Ever. Yeah, it was great. Smart of LeBron. He's not only great, but he's also smart, uses his brains, unlike Dylan Brooks. And good to see guys like that get what was coming to them. And see you later. Go golfing. We'll see you next year. On and on off. Okay. I definitely want to talk about the UFC. They had a pretty good card this past Saturday. Great. But I do want to mention the NFL draft went off pretty great. Lots of big moves and big trades happened there. And one thing that I noticed was because of the way NCAA sports has changed, these guys don't have to be so restrictive with getting some sponsorship money, getting some money up front. I could not believe the amount of massive chains around all the guys' necks, all the bling, all the crazy amount of money they're displaying as they're leaving their seat, going up to meet Roger Goodell, getting a hug, and then standing there getting some pictures taken. Never seen bling like this. It was outrageous. It was crazy, and it was super noticeable to me that these guys got more money than the previous guys have over the lifetime of the NFL draft, and these guys coming in.
Yeah, because usually you don't see the bling already, right? Because they're just coming in. Usually what you do see is like a nice suit or a custom-made suit, and you're just like, oh, okay, that looks pretty cool. But nowadays, it's like, well, the NFL's not poor. No. And that's what it tells me. It's like that NFL's doing really well. It's doing so well that the guys coming in, we already got money.
Already.
You got money.
Yeah. The other thing that I found was great, and it's hopefully a very big trend to come, and I'm very excited about this. 3 out of the first 4 picks were black quarterbacks, and the white quarterback that was supposed to go first round got kicked all the way down to the 3rd round because he was an idiot. He talked like a jerk and told everybody that he was the greatest thing in the history of football. And they said, no, hang on, buddy. See you later. We've had Johnny Manziel. We've had Ryan Leaf. We've had Baker Mayfield. We've had a lot of you guys. And no, sorry, but get out of the back of the line. And to see these teams stepping up using such massive draft capital, these top 5 picks really can change the whole trajectory of your franchise. If you make the right decision, if you make the wrong decision, look out. Tough times are ahead. 3 out of the 4 top picks were black quarterbacks, and I was just so happy to see this. The NFL has been really racist for way too many years in so many areas, and this, I think, was a very big breath of fresh air.
Crowning achievement. It's a crowning achievement, and also too knowing that, like, if you're in the top 5, definitely the top 10 of that draft, you're getting paid. You're getting paid quite well, and you're getting paid handsomely right away. And I think it also told people there's something to be said about being humble, but yet hungry, and knowing what you bring to the table, right? Yeah. Will Levis definitely did not learn that lesson.
No,
because he saw it. If I'm just brash and braggadocious and I'm just full of myself, they'll love that, right? Oh wait, no, they don't. They hated that, actually. They absolutely hated that part about me. So I was so happy to see that happen, and to see that franchises are just like this. Our way of thinking is completely changed. These guys are good. They're gonna get your shot, right? Yeah. And that's the way it should be. That's absolutely the way it should be.
Yeah, and Anthony Richardson, being such a raw project. Just great to see somebody step up and say, hey, we can see this incredible athleticism. We can see so much upside, and we're going to work with him and, be able to develop him the way we know we'll have success. And he didn't have to put in another 2, 3, 4 years to develop there. They can develop him in-house. Yeah. Teach him the NFL game, and eventually have a really dynamic quarterback that will be with this franchise for decades probably. And it was great to watch the draft. I see a lot of things changing, and pretty cool that Kansas City got to host it. Kansas City had the Super Bowl victory again this year. Just had a UFC event there a couple weeks back. And they showed out in full force again. Great to see an outdoor event like that with a covered tent in the front, but outdoor event. Looked like 100,000 people were there. So many very, very passionate fan groups were all over, and it's incredible how highly watched the NFL draft is and how big it is. And I find it so touching that it's changing people's lives right in front of us immediately. These guys are realizing lifelong dreams. Their whole entire friends and family are surrounding them, and the hugs, the tears, the just absolute joy. It's pretty special, and I'm glad it's become such a huge thing to watch on TV.
Yeah, it's special because all the sacrifice, the hard work, the blood, the sweat, and tears, but not just like the players' hard work, the people that supported them throughout all that time. Yeah. That's also their blood, sweat, and tears as well, especially their parents or whoever raised them, their guardians. Whoever those people are, hey, they get to celebrate just as hard as they do, because we were there for that journey. We helped out. We got them to where he needed to be, because this was a dream of theirs. They made it. They made it. And now the only thing that they have to actually focus on is get better.
Yeah.
All I gotta do, get better. If I get better, I get paid more money.
Yeah. Yeah. Put in the work. Don't party. Actually, I did want to mention that James Harden has been receiving a lot of criticism because he went to Vegas and was partying his brains out and got involved in some kind of scuffle. He's named in a police report, and lots of weird video. One of him seeming to be quite inebriated, talking to somebody with a camera, and this was not a good look for a guy that is getting up in years and should know better. And just as they're about to emerge on a playoff run, he's in Vegas partying his brains out and getting involved in crap like this. Another really poor example of a guy that's done a lot of things that has made me shake my head over, and a lot of people questioning his decision making in his life,
or his commitment to the team, because like pretty much what he's pulled. Maybe that makes sense now. That's why he wants to go to Houston, because nobody cares about me if I'm on Houston. I can do whatever I want. Maybe.
Right. Maybe.
Or he's trying to pull a Rodman, but you know what Rodman had? If you don't, Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen. So I don't know if you can just do that, James. I don't know if you can do that. To me, that just screams a commitment thing. Like, it's like, dude, do you want to do this or not? Like, you can go party once this is all said and done.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
wait another 5 weeks or 2 weeks or whatever.
2 weeks or 3 weeks or whatever it is.
Geez, you got months and months and months to get let loose and go off. Like, come on, commit to your team, try to, win. And then there's, lots of days to have your fun.
Yeah, there's a ton of time for that. There's a ton of time for that. But the fact that he just goes, no, I gotta do it now. I gotta do it now. Like, I'm just gonna do it now. So I question that.
Yeah.
And then also too, because of that commitment, that lack of commitment, well, now I look at the Boston and I go, that's just another feather in their cap. They're going, well, not all your guys are committed. We sure are.
Yeah. 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 You can definitely trash talk them on the court, saying, hey, way to be committed to your team there, buddy. He's got nothing to say back. It's it was weak, and just, I've questioned him many times over the years, him and Kyrie and KD, a lot of these guys, so much talent, so much to offer their teams, but decision making, things that they've done off the court and stuff, it's so frustrating, because if we were given these opportunities, I think we would work so hard at it and not screw up. But it's just constantly with some of these guys.
Yeah, we might, hopefully, I would like to think that maybe we would, or we would be complete train wrecks and you'd hear about us every other day, and the organization would be like, okay, man, I think we gotta trade him.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, it depends, I guess, what time or how young we were. If I think it would have hit us at a certain age, we would have been train wrecks. But I think there's some wisdom maybe now that we have that we didn't have back then. So
and especially if you grow up within this realm, right, of superstardom, eventually you should probably come to the realization of, okay, I'm in the playoffs, so I'm just gonna focus on basketball.
Yeah, right.
That's all I'm gonna do.
Makes sense to me. I do want to mention the Stanley Cup playoffs. I know you don't follow hockey very well, but wow, what a weekend of playoffs. We had some exciting games on Saturday. Toronto Maple Leafs ended up making the second round, first time in 19 years. They just could not get over that hump, and they were really great this season, and finally dispatching the Lightning. That was massive in overtime. And then immediately after, the Oilers faced the Kings in game 6 as well, and were able to knock them down and win that game. And now Toronto and Edmonton are the two favorites to win the Stanley Cup. That is the first time we've seen that in a long time. It has been 30 years this year since a Canadian team has been able to hoist the Stanley Cup and parade it in front of their fans the next few days after. It just got a whole lot easier yesterday when the Boston Bruins got upset by the Florida Panthers. It's considered the second biggest upset in NHL playoff history. 43 points separated the two teams in the regular season. And Boston actually had the most successful regular season in NHL history with 65 wins. They were just so far and above, way better than any other team in the league. and they get knocked off by Florida. Matthew Tkachuk, their leader, said nobody on the planet gave us a chance to win this playoffs, and we just worked and made it happen. And it was so massive an upset. It was incredible. So good to see. And the second game last night, the Seattle Kraken, in only their second year in existence, knocked off the defending champion Colorado Avalanche to send shockwaves through the hockey world and give so many teams a shot at winning the cup, and really making it seem like it's a good possibility that we could see Toronto facing Edmonton in the Stanley Cup final, ensuring a Canadian victory parade, ensuring a Canadian Cup finally coming back up north of the border. It's been so long and so tough to deal with that we've had this drought, but stars are aligning, and wow, incredible games, incredible upsets, and it could happen. It could actually happen. We get to see a Stanley Cup back up here again.
No, it looks like it could definitely happen. And the fact that because of those massive upsets, it's kind of wide open for it's open for the taking for any team right now that's still left in the playoffs in hockey, which is awesome to see. But it's even better the fact that, you know, we have two Canadian teams still in the hunt, so to speak, and the fact that Toronto actually got to the second round. Oh my God, the Maple Leafs actually got there. It only took 19 years. It might take another 19 years. Sorry about that. But hey, you're there now, and that's awesome. Way to go.
As you know, I live close to the Regal Beagle, and it is our designated Toronto bar in the city. The roof blew off the place on Saturday when John Tavares, their captain, scored the series clinching victory in overtime, and the place will be off the hook now that they finally made the second round. I talked to some people there, and I won't name names, but one of them is just like, I kind of like when the Leafs sort of lose because it gets too crazy and chaotic. You know, after 7 games, it's like, oh, I need a break, but they won't get a break. This Leafs team has an opportunity. They're going in. They're playing the Panthers, so we'll see. I know that the Leafs were worried about playing Boston. It kind of would have been good for Leafs Nation if they got the team this year to finally exercise those demons and knock off Boston. But in all true sense, Florida is a better matchup and should be easier to advance farther than Boston. But they just knocked off the Giants, just like Miami knocked off Milwaukee. 8-1. This was an 8-1 matchup like that, and incredible, huge, massive upset. But it'll be great. Tomorrow, game 1, Panthers Leafs. Go to the Regal Beagle. You'll love it there. Got to show up super early, and don't wear Panthers gear. You'd be in very big trouble. And then Kraken play the Stars also tomorrow, the late game. So it's going to be some dynamic series coming. Oilers end up playing the Vegas Golden Knights now in the second round, and that game is on Wednesday. Time still to be determined. Game 7 tonight in the NHL. Rangers and Devils. The Battle of New York. Always incredible. Lots of incredible games in this series, and we'll see who emerges there. And then the second round matchups will all be figured out. But wow, what a weekend in hockey. I got texts from a lot of people, and everybody was just like, can you believe what I just saw, what we just witnessed? The crowds outside of Maple Leaf Square, outside of the Rogers Center there, Maple Leaf Square, and in Edmonton, holy cow, they're just getting so big, so massive. They're getting so rowdy and fun. It's got to be fun to be in Toronto and Edmonton right now. These Canadian cities, when your team goes on a run like this, it just becomes unbelievable, sweeps up everybody. I get goosebumps thinking about it. I see so many more people wearing jerseys and having flags on their cars and having just signs to the team, and it's incredible in Canada when your team goes on a Stanley Cup run. It's something that you just can't even believe.
Well, yeah, because the city's just energized. You can feel the energy in the city because everybody's pulling for the team. Everybody's pulling for them. Everybody wants to see them win. And then if you're, again, sorry, Leafs fans, if you're like a Leafs fan, you've just been starved for so long, right? Like all you've seen is like a desert and it's sand, no water, forever. And then finally you're just like, wait, is that an oasis? No way. I ain't seen an oasis in 20 years. Is that oh, come on, man. That's real, right?
Yeah.
And so yes, they should be excited. You should be excited and you should be pulling for your team because who knows when this happens again. So and then going to the Oilers side of things, you eventually that team was going to have to be good if you keep getting top draft picks for like years upon years upon years upon years on end. Like eventually something positive had to happen to the Edmonton Oilers.
Yeah.
This is the culmination of
it. They've suffered a lot, and they've got the two top scorers in the NHL. Two of the most dynamic players, and they've just haven't quite got there. Last year, coming up against Colorado, and Colorado being that dynamic and been able to knock them off. But like fingers crossed, it would be just so incredible if it was Toronto against Edmonton, and just it would electrify not only those two cities, but in Canada, across the nations, and it's going to be fun to watch. It's great. Really needs to be, that drought needs to be over, and these two teams really have the horses to pull it off, and it's going to be fun to watch. I'm excited for the second round, and I've got friends that have been to former colleagues and friends that have been to both places, and they're texting me little video clips and lots of stuff that's just been like, how this is what it's all about, and this is so great that I'm able to be here, and I feel happy for them, and I wish I could just jump on a plane and fly back and forth to a lot of these series like I used to. It would be very, very fun, and I love White Street in Edmonton when it goes off. The area downtown Toronto when either the Leafs or the Raptors do great. It's just so fun, and it really makes you be proud of your city, be proud of your team, and really happy that you're in that midst while they're having that success.
Oh yeah. You're just ecstatic. You're just so overjoyed that you're still in the hunt. You still got a chance. You're winning. Everybody's on board, and like you just feel that electricity that runs through the city as you're going through this epic run, and then you're hoping that it can be sustained all the way to the end.
Yeah. Canucks aren't my favorite team, but I have cheered for them, unfortunately, for 50 freaking years. And I just hate that organization. Seattle comes in their second year, make the playoffs, and go to the second round. Canucks can't figure it out over the past 10 years. It's another real knife in the heart that Seattle could come in and already be great, much greater than the Canucks. And we've had this many years to figure it out, and we can't still. It's just like, I just honestly feel like never giving them another minute of my time, because it's just unbelievable that they can be this bad. And other teams are showing them examples of, hey, what do you mean? This is easy. We can do this. You can't make the playoffs? Why? We did 2 years. Oh, easy enough.
Yeah.
It's frustrating, very frustrating.
Yeah, of course, because I think for the Canucks, what they lack the most is direction. And like, it just doesn't seem like they have proper direction. The ownership doesn't know exactly what they want to do. They're just not solidified, or they're not unified in thought about where the team should be, what the team needs, all of those things. Yeah. So, yeah.
Okay. Hockey to bed now. Game 7 tonight. Enjoy it. Let's talk about the UFC. They had a card at the UFC Apex. A a fight that was supposed to happen a couple weeks ago got postponed, became the main event. We had Ricky Simón and Song Yadong. This was the number 8 fighter in the bantamweight division against the number 10 fighter in the bantamweight division. Simón came in on a 5-fight win streak, second most takedowns in the division's history, had a 2-inch reach advantage, had a lot of things going for him that seemed like this was going to be a really incredibly super tight fight. It really was not. Song Yadong at 25 years old is the new up-and-coming prospect that you better keep your eyes on. This guy is incredibly athletic, incredibly fit, and incredible pace, and is just superior to Simón this night for sure, and got the really, really big victory, avenging his coach's defeat over Ricky's defeat at the hands of Ricky Simón years ago. And this is the new face of Alpha Male, and a big win in the main event.
Huge win. For Song, the keys to his victory was the fact that he was able to stifle Simón's grappling. Simón couldn't get him down to the mat. Like, I thought his takedown defense was excellent. And when he did get him down to the mat, popped back up immediately. Couldn't keep him down. And the fact that Song, after he got Simón's timing, knew what he was capable of in the striking department. He wasn't afraid of what was coming back at him. Because what Simón was trying to do was always set up for the takedown, so he wasn't striking to hurt. He was striking to set up the takedown. Where Song goes, oh, okay, so I don't have to worry about what's coming at me. I'm just going to come forward and come at you. Sure. And that's what he did with his superior boxing, and eventually just kept whittling down Simón every round, getting to him, kept hurting him, and then eventually in that 5th round, put him away with that left hook, dropped him, ground and pound finish. It was an excellent win by Song, very dominating win as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, no, first round was close, I thought, but after that, Song was, just so superior, and proved that he's the one on the rise up. This is a division that's getting a lot of attention right now, the bantamweights. Obviously, Aljamain Sterling next weekend. We're going to preview that in a sec, facing off against Henry Cejudo for the belt. You've got great fighters. Number 1 contender right now is Merab Dvalishvili. Number 2, Sean O'Malley, Corey Sandhagen, Peter Yan, Marlon Vera. That's top 5. And you go on, not Rob Font, number 6, Dominic Cruz, 7, Song, 8, Munoz, 9, and Simón, 10. I don't know if Song moves up the rankings. I don't know about that, beating the number 10 guy, but Dominic Cruz was at the fight, commentating on this fight. Maybe that's his next opponent. Also has quite the history with him and Alpha Male and Uriah Faber and all that. Might be kind of a cool person to see him up against. Rob Font, I think that fight would be just absolutely amazing. They've got they pretty much have the exact same record. Rob Font's 20-6. Song is 20-7. So pretty great numbers there. He could go up even farther, possibly. Marlon Chito Vera, at 5, that might be something we look at. But it was super impressive, and I think Song just should look up the rankings now instead of taking a fight down the rankings. I think he should get a top 5-6 guy.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I think he asked for a top 5-6 guy for sure. Yeah. And if I'm Song, if I'm a part of this management, you're not taking anybody below you anymore. Only up. That's the only fights that he should be looking at, only up, because he's on his way to getting himself a title shot if he continues to keep winning.
Yeah. I was actually kind of surprised that he did go down for this. So it kind of was good on him that he was able to get the victory and did not have to move down the rankings. But Simón, as I said, on a 5-fight winning streak, looking super great coming in. has fought a lot of really tough guys. And but Song, 25 years old, looking like incredible career trajectory. Went into alpha male at 18 years old, didn't speak English, moved his family all the way from China, decided to, settle in Sacramento, and has spent 7 years getting to this point. And he's, I've never seen him look better. And I think that the sky's the limit for him.
Yeah. And also too, in the post fight, his English is actually coming along. He was able to say a couple words there, here and there, and I understood what he was saying. So that's pretty good.
That's good. Yeah.
That's really good.
Yeah. Okay. He did get 50K for performance of the night there. Good on him. Nice. Also 50K was awarded to the winner of the co-main event, a middleweight clash between Kai Barajo against Mikhail Oyechuk. However I say that name. Kai is one of these Brazilians that's really dynamic, has that fluidity that we see with capoeira type of guys, with a lot of these Brazilians. Crazy personality, but he ended up getting a nice 50K bonus for a submission victory. Was able to get a rear naked choke win, and he's called the Natural. 4 wins in the UFC, on a meteoric rise as well.
Yeah, and against the tough fighter, and Oleksiejczuk, I think.
You probably said it better than I
did. and that guy's tough fighter, but I thought that Barajo, he solidified it with his calf kicks, trying to take away that lead leg of Oleksiejczuk's, and then finally in the second round, definitely his grappling was superior to Oleksiejczuk's. Was able to get him to the ground, to the mat, and keep him on the mat. And then once he sunk in that rear naked choke, tight, all she wrote, done.
I think Mikhail is super tough. He landed some really good shots, and is really good. His takedown defense and on the ground work has always been his Achilles heel. And for Barajo, it was definitely where he should take the fight. Once he did get the takedown, he got his back, got some mount, spun it around, got the body triangle, got the rear naked choke, and forced the tap. That is actually 11 wins in a row for him. He's on a 14 fight unbeaten streak. He has 1 no contest in there. Only 4 in the UFC, but that puts him second for streaks in the middleweight division, right behind Dricus du Plessis, who has 5. He calls his double leg the best in the UFC, and he said, come tell me that I don't. He said he's part of the Fighting Nerds MMA camp. Don't know that one, so I'm gonna have to do some research on him. And he called out Derek Brunson, who's in the top 15, and he said he called him out. Brunson said, fight me if you get 2 more victories in a row. And he said, I just got my second, so let's go. And we'll see if Brunson fights down like that or not, but that was his call out.
Interesting call out, because I know Brunson he's on the cusp of, does he fight more, or is he going to retire? Yeah. So I if he comes back for Barajo, he should feel honored for that, if he does come back and fight this guy. So
okay, let's switch to the middleweight fight between Rodolfo Vieira and Cody Brundage. Cody Brundage has absolute power in his fists and can take anybody out with them. He had Rodolfo in trouble and a few occasions during this fight, knocked him down. But another guy that you don't want to go to the ground with, a Brazilian specialty, and BJJ was able to also get the takedown. He ended up getting a triangle choke and forced a tap from Brundage, getting the victory. Brundage, just was overmatched on the ground, just couldn't finish that fight. on the feet and took the loss. Vieira got 50K as well for the big win.
He was close. Brundage was close to finishing this fight on his feet. He came out like a house on fire in the first round and just tried to starch him and almost got it done. I give Vieira a lot of credit. He weathered the storm. He survived that first round because that's exactly what he had to do. He had to survive that first round. And then the second round, he took it to where he's best, took him down to the ground. And then Brundage was in all sorts of trouble once he got down there. He was just like, uh-oh, this is not going to go well for me. And when he sunk in that arm triangle choke, Brundage actually spun away and was out of it, but he had to give up his back. But then he did the wrong thing and he spun back into the arm triangle choke and then got choked out. So, yeah, good win by Vieira.
Yeah, very good win by Vieira. That's 8 submission victories for him out of 9 wins. 8 submissions, 1 KO, all finishes for Vieira. That was his first win in 2 years, though. He's had all sorts of injuries, all sorts of fights got canceled. He said it was a tough 2 years not having a victory in the octagon, but he was excited. He is a physical specimen, and you do not want to grapple with him. He is incredible on the ground. And I do like when it's striker grappler. I don't love it when the grappler wins, but you know, I like the striker versus grappler. And this was styles make fights. You know, this was a perfect matchup. Unfortunately, quite often, if that striker goes to the ground, he's usually done, and that was the case in this one for sure.
Yeah, that was definitely the case because it's not where their strength lies. And unfortunately for Brundage, he got very close to taking Vieira out in the first round, but it didn't happen for him. And then that was his downfall.
Yeah. Okay. We had Julian Juicy J Arosa fighting a brand new guy in the UFC, making his UFC debut, Fernando Padilla. Padilla is out of Mexico. Arosa is our guy from Yakima, Washington, originally, just south of the border here. Arosa has the 3rd most appearances in the featherweight division at 40. This was his 40th fight. Darren Elkins right behind him at 38. We have a couple of incredible guys that this is a guy that has massive experience with the guy that's making his UFC debut. Another kind of cool matchup that the matchmakers put together, and Arosa didn't last long. Padilla was just incredible with his accuracy, combos that were just constantly pushing Arosa back. Obviously early stoppage, but I didn't see any different outcome if this lasts long. I'm usually never happy with a stoppage that ends too early, but Jesus, like the accuracy with Padilla, there was nothing that Arosa was going to be able to do to maintain his ability to continue this fight.
Yeah, I actually had that written down. Was it too quick a stoppage? And the only thing I could think of was Padilla was just going to hurt Arosa more, and then it would have just been a legitimate stoppage.
Right.
That was literally the only difference. Like, Arosa was not going to win that fight at that point in time. Yeah. He got stunned. He got dropped. And I was impressed with the way that Padilla, his hands were fantastic.
Jesus.
And as you said, his accuracy with his punches were absolutely dead on. Pinpoint accuracy.
I think it was like 15 shots, and I think he missed 1 out of those 15. And it was from one side of the cage to the other. The guy had a flash knockdown, got back up, knocked him down again. And, you know, the referee came jumping in there, Chris Taglioni, and, you know, Arosa immediately protested, but the writing was on the wall. You know, he had been rocked on 3 or 4 occasions already in the last 10, 15 seconds. And, you know, when he dropped, I as a referee would have stopped that. But, you know, it was early because he's up again and looking like he can go. But yeah, it's unfortunate for him that it was stopped, but I don't see a different outcome. Great to see Padilla come in on his UFC debut and have such an impressive performance and stop a tough guy that's been around for a long, long time. One of those, OGs of the division.
Yeah, it was definitely impressive. Definitely an impressive win for his first fight in the UFC. I'm looking forward to seeing big things from Padilla. Like, he showed a lot of skill there, and he took out a very tough guy in Rosa very quickly.
Yeah. I don't want to say much about this heavyweight fight between Marcos Rogerio de Lima and Waldo Cortez Acosta. Two fat guys that got tired and gassed out and got a decision. I don't like seeing fat guys fight when they get gassed out. I think we should consider having shorter rounds for heavyweights. Maybe make them 2-minute rounds and make them about 6 or 7 rounds. They need their recovery time, and after 5 minutes, 1 minute isn't enough. And if they don't get them out of there early, it's not good. I guess the only thing I can really mention is Rogerio de Lima's calf kicks are
deadly,
devastating, unbelievably devastating, and he's gonna have a lot of success if he can continue delivering them to his opponents. De Costa, man, it's tough. He's not going to be walking properly for days after that one.
No, he's not. But for Cortez Acosta, I'll give him this. He hung in there, and I believe he won that third round.
Yeah,
sure. Like I would give him that third round because he was popping his jab and he was beginning to get to De Lima. Cortez Acosta is a hard man to get out because anybody else gets those kind of leg kicks from De Lima, I think it's said and done in the second round.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, like those were devastating leg kicks.
Yeah.
And I give Cortez Acosta a lot of credit for surviving and getting to the end of that fight because, like you said, I'm sure the next day he wasn't walking. He wasn't walking at all.
Yeah. Took his first loss. Salsa boy will be back. He's got to figure out how to check those kicks. And definitely doesn't want to face De Lima for a while. He took some serious abuse to that front leg, and holy crap. Those were brutal. The fight that kicked off the main card was Josh Quinlan against Trey Waters. Dana White Contender Series alums, both of them. I really enjoyed this fight. I really thought there was a lot of very good skilled guys, but definitely I thought that Waters deserved the decision victory that he got. Good performance all around by Trey Waters.
Yeah, I thought that Waters was definitely in control of this fight because Quinlan was constantly trying to figure out how to get within reach so he could get his strikes off. Yeah. And Waters had great distance management throughout the entirety of this fight, kept him at the end of his punches. Yeah. And that's what helped him get the win on this because Quinlan was always worried about what was firing back. And one of Waters' best moves that he had was the step back or fade counter right. And he landed it every freaking time.
Yeah.
To the point that's why Quinlan was hesitant about trying to get in there and really muck it up because he knew he was going to get hurt. He's going to get tagged with a big shot.
He's the tallest welterweight on the roster now. This was his UFC debut coming in. He's the tallest guy on the roster, 6'5" at this weight class, 170. It's going to be tough for most guys to be able to come in. If he utilizes that jab and that ability to move out of range, it's going to be hard to beat this guy. That is very unheard of, being having a guy that tall at this weight.
Oh yeah, no, it's supremely unheard of because first off, you have to make that weight at that height. Yeah, it's odd, and the fact that then now you have to deal with his reach advantage makes it really, really hard.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, I think he's in for a very good future. His nickname is The Truth, and We know, some other athletes that got the nickname The Truth, and they went far. Trey, I always think about basketball when I hear that, and I also just thought Trey Bien, using a French term. Very good UFC debut, and I'm looking forward to seeing him fight some others. I hope they do put him up against somebody that's a little bit taller. That 5-inch height advantage was just too crazy, and that's asking a lot out of a guy to have to try to wade into tough waters with that much reach.
Yeah, exactly. Especially when the guy's that good at countering you. Yeah. Like he was excellent at countering Quinlan. Whenever he made him pay every time he came, every time.
Quinlan was favored, undefeated going in. Hawaiian, super tough. Love his nickname. 30 years old, BJJ black belt, and a guy that's really good. It's just impressive to see a new guy coming out of the contender series that looks already very legit.
Oh yeah, no, definitely legit. And it was a great fight between both men, but definitely Waters had the edge in this fight.
Another fat guy matchup on the prelim feature fight. Martin Budai and Jake Collier. These two guys, pretty skilled, but also, getting very, very tired very early, and a lot of just grabbing onto each other. And, I a lot of times just get a little bored when heavyweights can't finish a guy early. It becomes not that fun to watch in the later rounds. Budai was better, got the decision win and deserved it. 29-28, 2 rounds to 1, unanimous decision.
Yeah, I liked the work that Budai did with his knees. Whenever he got in close with clinch, delivered some great knees. Got the takedown in the 3rd round, had some good ground and pound. But like you said, when them big boys got tired, they kind of just laid on each other or just laid up against the fence and, did what they could.
He's one of only 2 Slovakians in the UFC who haven't had a lot come out of that country, but I look forward to more of them. He is talented, has a lot to offer. 12-1 record now, and he just needs to get some a little more finishes, and I'll be more excited to see him on the next card. Okay, what about the fight between Cody Durden and Charles Johnson? Another decision, flyweight. I was looking forward to this fight because I thought lots of speed, lots of takedowns that will be reversed, and a lot of that kind of stuff. Didn't turn out as great as I thought, but what did you think of it?
I just thought that Durden just took control of Johnson for the first 2 rounds. He was like an anaconda and just hung on him, put his weight on him, leaned on him, and got his back. And like so many times throughout the course of this fight that I was surprised at how easily he always was attached to the man's back. Always got Johnson's back. It was a great win by him.
Lots of standing backpacks with the body triangle, and I was like, what am I going to do now? And it just seemed to happen over and over. 10 takedowns, I think he had something like that. He was dominant in that department.
No, he was super dominant. Great win by him, and also too, I was more impressed with the fact that he was able to keep that pace, and he has a great gas tank, man, because fighting that way takes up a huge amount of energy.
He fights out of ATT, great camp there on a 3-fight win streak. Asked for a ranked opponent. It was 30-27 unanimous decision. Really good takedowns, and then great work once he had that takedown. Constantly getting the back, becoming a backpack or threatening chokes and stuff. He was dominant and deserved the big victory. Okay. This fight here, women's bantamweight fight, cheating Russian. I don't really know if I want to give her any props. I think she's on steroids. She doesn't make weight. She's 4 pounds overweight. 4 pounds.
That was bad.
That's not fair when they're only supposed to come in at 135. She comes in at 140. That's not even trying. So she not only cheats with doing steroids, but she also cheats being that much overweight. Come on, that's absolutely a joke. She only lost 30%, but ends up getting the win. And that's enough for me. I don't want to talk anymore about this girl.
Okay, all right. So then I'll take over. So I will say this: I was impressed with when Egger had her back, and Alexova used her sambo background to roll into a potential knee bar that she did finish, but she actually finished the knee bar within the transition of her blocking out the leg. I have no idea what kind of injury Egger suffered, but I'm pretty sure she suffered something. Something tore. I think she hurt her knee pretty badly after that, because as soon, I think she was tapping even before the leg was fully extended. So I think something gave right away. And that was during the transition of completing the knee bar. So hats off to Alexeva. That was a great move that she had. And I think it caught Egger completely off guard. Great win. And I hope that Egger can get over that injury of whatever she suffered on her knee, because I'm pretty sure she did definitely suffer an injury. Yeah. That happened.
Yeah, she should have not taken this fight. The girl didn't show up ready to fight. She should have just not taken this fight. Her knee popped really badly, and she's going to have a long recovery time. I feel really sorry for her. And, I'm going to start petitioning for all Russians to be banned in all athletic competitions. I don't want to see Russians anymore. Get the fuck out of Ukraine. Quit fucking the world over. Quit sending your athletes and trying to say that you're great and superior. You got your cheaters. You're a bunch of assholes. You send another girl here. She can't make weight. She's cheating. She doesn't deserve to be shown in front of our faces, and cut it out. Goodbye, Russia, until you start treating the world better. We don't want to see you. Not happy about this. I'm really pissed off that she just severely hurt Stephanie Egger, maybe career threatening. This is a brutal injury to have to overcome.
So, you know what? Going back to being overweight and taking these fights, right? I have no idea what goes on behind the scenes, but this is what I'm thinking what most of these athletes should do, and especially if it's egregious like this, where it's they're 4 or 5 pounds overweight. I'll take the fight if you double my pay.
Yeah.
I think that should be a real conversation, because I know that the UFC likes to put pressure, especially on not developed talent yet, or not solidified within the fact that it's I've been here for a while, I'm a vet or whatever. And I think they like to put pressure on these young guys and ladies as well. I think for going forward for some of these guys, they should be like, you know what? Either you pay me more to take this fight, because obviously my opponent didn't take it seriously. I did. Yeah. So pay me more. I'll take the fight, or else, you know what? I'll wait for my opportunity going forward, because I think they still get paid their show if it doesn't happen like that, right? Yeah, I think they still get paid.
Most times they take care of them like that. Yeah, they will. Yeah. So yeah. Anyway, yeah. F her. F Russia. Do not send your athletes anymore. We don't want to see them. I'll be a much happier guy. And I won't have to disparage your country, because I won't see you guys, and we don't deserve to see you right now. So, okay, one more 50K bonus on this card. This was UFC debut by Marcus McGee, finally getting an opportunity to come into the biggest promotion on the planet. 32 years old and got his UFC debut. Comes out of the MMA lab and works really close with Sugar Sean O'Malley, one of his best buddies. We saw tons of tweets from Sean throughout the fight, and was able to get a big victory here. Came in on only 3 days notice. And so the weight was just 140. They didn't make him. This is fine to come in at 140.
Oh, yeah,
when it's, that short of notice, not when you're given a full camp and come in yourself, and that end up being that way, 5 pounds over. But great victory by Marcus McGee. Way to go. Changes his life. Just became a full-time fighter this past year. Had a full-time job until a year ago. Finally was able to put that job aside and take on MMA 100% seriously. And yeah, good on him getting a big win in the UFC.
Especially with the fact that he had days notice. And also too, when you have that short of notice, yeah, you're allowed to have a catch win. Yeah, or else the fight doesn't happen, clearly. So I got no problem with that. I was super impressed with that McGee was still in that great a shape to do that to a tough guy in Newsom. And the thing that really I thought separated these guys was that McGee has explosive power. He would explode into his combinations and his kicks and his punches. And I thought that was definitely a very telling thing between these two fighters. And then when he dropped him with, I believe, a left, got Newsom down to the ground and then suck in that rear naked choke. Great win by McGee, especially for his debut in the UFC. Nice.
That was his first submission win of his career, so that was pretty surprising. He's on a 3 fight win streak, first in the UFC. He's going to fight at bantamweight. He said that's his normal weight and will. I like this guy, Journey Newsom. I think, he's, an up and comer, but great win by McGee and good to see. The fight that kicked off the card, it was cut off a little bit for our broadcast. They showed it, just the tail end of this fight, but it was a Canadian girl from Squamish, just up the road from here, Sea to Sky Highway. Jamie Lynn Horth gets her UFC debut, stays unbeaten at 6-0, gets a big decision win. And yeah, great to see another Canadian getting an opportunity, especially a girl from right up the street from here.
Yeah, no, it was fantastic to see. Fantastic to see that she got a win against a very game and tough Cowan. It was a closely contested match, but she got the win. She got it done.
So she got a UFC contract in her email inbox just this past week. She said, I was almost numb to it. I was just like, is this actually really happening or am I dreaming? She said she got emotional for days. She was just like, wow, all my hard work's finally paying off. I'm getting a chance. Then she was like, okay, now I just got to get to work. And she just went to the gym religiously every day, just putting in tons and tons and tons of work. And she's had a really tough 2-year stretch from what I understand. A lot of delays to fights, some injuries, and some things that just happened. She was initially scheduled to fight on the Dana White Contender Series in 2020, but she had some visa issues, government issues, couldn't go. And then the COVID-19 pandemic hit, so she turned to the LFA. She won the LFA title in December 2021, and then she had a title defense of that LFA title. It got canceled last minute due to her opponent injury. So then she was like, oh, now what else can go wrong? And boom, all of a sudden out of the blue, UFC calls and says they want her on this card. She wants to fight on the Vancouver card in June. So we're only just a little over a month away from that. Let's hope we can see her locally when they come to town very soon.
Yeah, hopefully they can sneak her in because she didn't take too much damage in that fight. So yeah, if she feels that she's good to go, then get her in there. Yeah. More Canadian talent that we get to see, the better.
Yeah, I can't wait for the card. Speaking of that card, I have an issue. I want a little bone to pick here with our platform over the UFC. The ticket prices were outrageous and ridiculous. I had some access to on sale tickets to the general public. The cheapest ticket was I believe 800, and the most expensive was 13,000. Then the next day I logged on when everybody can. I logged on the minute that you were allowed to. I was 2,000 and something in the queue. By the time I made it through that queue, all the cheapest tickets were gone. cheap, meaning 300 was the cheapest. All of those were gone. The cheapest ticket was somewhere around 600 with taxes in and everything, and up to 15 grand. I knew that I wouldn't have very much buy-in from my friends to buy 4 tickets at 600, 700, 800, 1,000. So I did not buy them. I'm going no matter what, but I wanted to go with you. I wanted to go with Stefan. I wanted to go with few others, Scott and a few others have asked, but I just knew that almost all of you would be like, no, I'm not going to pay that freaking much. And so I would have got stuck with 4 tickets at that kind of outrageous prices. A lot of the tickets haven't sold yet. And I'm pretty disgusted that the UFC would wait. It's been 4 years since they came back, and they would just try to just decimate people paying that much money. That's just outrageous, and it's too much, and it's unfair. It's not fair. You shouldn't charge this much money for tickets to a UFC event.
Yeah, you know what? I remember, I don't know if it was the first or the second time, Dana White came out and said that it was ridiculous how much our like the BC government was taxing the UFC or something like that, to that effect. And he said, I don't know if we're going to be coming back here again. I don't no idea how much they're doing that again, but it felt like, because I learned about these ticket prices from another friend of mine who told me that, and I said, oh, that's cool. I guess I'm not going. Like, he told me the ticket prices, and I'm wondering if whatever the UFC has to pay to come here and put on their event, if they're not just passing on that cost to like the people buying tickets. They're just literally saying, okay, that's how you want to play it. Cool. This is how much the tickets then cost. Now you get to pay that off for us because we don't want to do it. Right. If the card was one of the best cards of the year, I could understand that pricing, but it is not.
No,
it isn't. So no, like, you're asking normal folks to say, hey man, you want to go see this thing? How much? It's average like $750, $800. Not a big deal. No, actually it is a big deal. That works hard, man. Yeah. It's a lot of money. It's just a lot of money to ask from normal folk. I'm not talking about, your celebrities and stuff who don't care about that kind of thing. I'm talking about normal people like you and me.
Imagine trying to take your kid, you want to take your kid, teenage kid, you want to, be a cool dad and, show him a live event. It's been 4 years, if they didn't catch the last one, maybe it's been 6, 7 years. And, guys like, I can't afford that. No chance. And, there's a lot of people that have been really wanting to see a live event, and it's priced out of the range of most people. And I think the scalpers are going to take a bath. I think the scalpers bought a shitload of the tickets, and I think a lot of people are going to be like, hey man, it was already too expensive coming out of the box office. You want me to pay you money too to see this? It's going to be brutal and tough, and it ruined it for me. I was expecting that, we'd be sitting about 4 of us together and enjoying ourselves. And you go there to an event, that's not the only cost you have. You got cost of food and drinks and getting there, parking if you bring your car, all the stuff that goes into it. It's a massive, massive, massive costly night. And I don't expect any guy that has a family to be able to afford it. So we aren't going to see families there. We're going to just see rich elite people that probably don't even give a crap about the sport. It's pretty disappointing, and it's something that, I hope the UFC can address going forward. I'm glad they're coming back north of the border, and I want every province to experience live events because they're really great. But this costing is too much, and it's left a very, very sour taste in my mouth.
I'm wondering, for like future events going forward for the UFC, if they come up here and it's a pay-per-view event, if they just go, nah, that's the cost now. That's what you guys have to pay. Because like, if that's the case, can you please give us fight nights then? if that's how you want to play it, I would rather just have it as a regular fight night. Yeah. I don't know if that's a thing. I don't know if they'll ever do that. But that I would prefer that, because if you want to charge that much for pay-per-views now going forward, whenever they come to Canada, forget it. I think I'm going to be out, because it's not like the ticket prices are going to go down. They're actually probably going to go up.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, let's just touch real briefly on this coming week's card. We've got a battle between Aljamain Sterling, who has been really the king of the castle in the bantamweight division for the last few years here, and he's fighting a guy that hasn't fought in a while. Triple C Henry Cejudo coming in, being a former champ, but long layoff. And coming in immediately, getting another title shot. What are we going to see in this main event next weekend?
I think we are going to see these guys fight at every level. I am very interested to see who comes out on top within the grappling exchanges between these two men. And I think that's exactly where the fight will be won and lost. Whoever comes out on top of these grappling exchanges, I think that's where the fight is going to be won between these two. Aljamain Sterling is probably going to try to maintain distance so he can get off his kicks. Henry Cejudo is probably one of the highest fight IQ guys, period. Like, especially if you can talk to John Jones and tell him, I think this is what's going to happen in the fight, and this is exactly how it's going to go, and this is how you're going to win, and then it actually happens.
Yeah.
Pretty smart dude. He's pretty smart dude. So
yeah, very smart dude.
Yeah. I think he's going to try to crowd Aljamain as much as he can, maybe do some dirty boxing, do stuff like that. Not give Aljamain the space to throw his strikes, because Aljamain would prefer to strike at distance. But again, I think it's the grappling that will tell the tale in this fight.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see. Henry Cejudo, he's left the sport, retired, but he's been training some of the top fighters in the world, and it's been impressive. He trains fighters from heavyweight all the way down to every weight division. It's an impressive roster of guys that are utilizing him as their main coach and training guy. And it's, he hasn't left the game. There will be some rust there, I believe, though. And, I'm leaning towards Aljamain doing this and getting the victory. I think he's better at standing and just as comparable, possibly better on the ground, because he's been in the wars and continually in the wars, beat some very, very, very tough opponents over the past few years. And I think he's more athletic, I believe, than Cejudo. I think, there's a lot of, I think there's more ways that Aljo can win than Cejudo can win. So, I think their grappling might be neck and neck, and it might sort of trade off with each other. But the striking advantage, the athleticism with Sterling, I think tips the scales in his favor, and I think he retains the belt and will still be the champion. The co-main event, great fight between two super tough welterweights. Bilal, remember the name, Muhammad against Gilbert Burns. That's the number 4 against the number 5 guy in the division. Styles make fights, and I think this one's great.
Great fight. It's a fantastic fight. I think this is probably the best fight on the main card. Yeah. I'm just going to say that right now. And I think it's going to end up being a war. These guys are going to go toe-to-toe and see who the best man is. I'm very much looking forward to this fight. Like you said, styles make fights. And this is stylistically one of the best matches I've seen in a long time. This is going to be a good fight.
Also on the card, we've got a women's strawweight bout. Number 4, Jessica Andrade against Yan Jonan. This is number 4 against number 6. Yan is number 8. Great. Yeah. Andrade, super tough, and one of those girls that's very hard to beat, because she's stocky and super, super tough. But I think it should be a pretty good battle.
That should be a very good battle, and I think Andrade has learned from her last fight, where it was a defeat, not to take her opponent lightly.
Yeah.
And I don't think she'll be doing that with Yan whatsoever. Yeah. It's going to be a good fight.
Very true. Yeah. Bryce Missile Mitchell was supposed to fight Jonathan Pierce. That fight has been canceled, so he has been handed Movsar Evloev, number 10 in the featherweight division. Mitchell is number 11. Yeah, I feel a bit bad for Mitchell having to switch to such a tough opponent last minute like this. Evloev is very tough, and it's going to be, it's going to be a heck of a battle.
It's going to be a heck of a battle. It's going to be tough for Mitchell because this is not the opponent he trained for his whole fight camp. So he's going to have to change on the fly, and it's going to be a tough fight. Period. It's going to be a very, very tough fight.
The fight that kicks off the main card is a really cool fight between Charles Jourdain, Canadian. Love the guy, has delivered a lot of impressive performances over his career, north of the border as well as in the UFC. He's fighting one of the Gracie guys. We don't get to see many Gracies grace the octagon like in the past. We get to see Kron Gracie face Charles Jourdain. This will be fun. Very fun.
Yeah, it'll be fun. We haven't seen Kron for quite some time, actually. He has been in the octagon for a while. I think Kron is definitely going to have to figure out and deal with Jourdain's creativity on his feet in his striking department. And depending on how he deals with that, depending on how he deals with that, that's going to see how he finishes the fight, or if Jourdain can finish him in the fight. Because I think Jourdain actually has a very good chance of finishing him in this fight with his striking prowess.
Yeah. I was really disappointed when the Charles Oliveira Beneil Dariush fight got canceled off this card. That was something that I was super, super excited about. But we have to, hopefully see them again soon. The main fight on the prelims has Drew Dober against Matt Frevola. Always been a fan of Dober. Spent some time with him when the UFC was here 4 years ago. Got an opportunity to chat with him quite a bit, and his career has just continuously taken a rise. This will be a great lightweight fight for the feature prelim.
Oh, that's a great fight. Great fight. I love Dober. I love watching him fight. He's a great fighter. And I picked Dober to win this fight because I think he's on a high right now, especially against his last fight was against Bobby King Green, I believe.
Right.
And that was an epic fight. So man, was that a great fight. That was great.
Incredible, yeah. I do look forward to the light heavyweight battle between Devin the Brown Bear Clark against Kennedy Njikwu. Those guys are both bangers, and it should be probably an early night for one of them.
That definitely going to be an early night for one of them, and I think the guy right underneath them for the welterweight battle, Chaos Williams against whoever he's fighting. Yeah, that guy is in trouble. That doesn't matter who he is. Whoever that Chaos Williams is fighting, dude, you're in trouble. If you get hit with one of those hands, night.
Yeah, night. Exactly, yeah. And one more fight was canceled off those prelims. Andre Petrosky and Arman Petrosian, unfortunately, will not make the walk. Massive amount of early prelims. I don't know if we'll get to see a ton here. Zelgas Zumagulov was supposed to fight Nathan Manez, has been switched opponents now to Rafael Estevan, and we'll see how that turns out. We got some, interesting matchups there. Phil Hawes against Ikram Askarov. It's lots of fights on this card. Hopefully no more get dropped and canceled.
Yeah, hopefully that's the end of that. And we got a great card coming up for this weekend. Looking forward to it.
Yeah. BKFC, the Bare Knuckle Fighting Championships, had an event this weekend, and it got a lot of attention. We had some former UFC guys going against each other. Mike Perry faced Luke Rockhold in the main event and absolutely destroyed Luke Rockhold, smashed up his teeth. They're all busted up, big cuts on his face, just absolutely horrifically beat up Luke Rockhold. And as soon as he had his hand raised, he called out Conor McGregor, who was there. Conor came in the ring. They did a square off face to face. And Conor said he wants to fight so bad in the bare knuckle fighting championships. And everybody locally was salivating over that possibility. But yeah, got a lot of attention with Conor being there. 2 former UFC guys going there, and some pretty horrific pictures. If you're squeamish at all, don't look online. But if you don't care about that, look online. I have, and wow, Luke Rockhold took a bad beating.
I saw the aftermath off of his Instagram where he showed his face, and I'm like, oh, so you didn't win. Got it. Oh. It looked like he took a beating. I don't know what Perry's face looked like, but it couldn't have been anywhere close to what Rockhold looked like. Like it looked devastating.
Yeah. Another fight that was just a crazy all-out war was Eddie Alvarez getting a split decision win over Chad Mendes. Holy crap. This was crazy, man. This fight was insane. Mendes retired after it. He said, I don't think so. I don't think so. This bare knuckle stuff, I thought I would give it a try, and holy cow, it was a nutty war. Try to find it online if you're interested in wars like that. Wow, unreal.
So did you have Eddie winning that fight?
Yeah, I was leaning towards thinking that he had pulled it out, but geez, I would have hated to be a judge. Really, it was craziness. It was craziness. Yeah, these two went at each other, and when you don't have anything on your hands, oh man, these punches really hurt and just devastate you. But to be able to withstand storms and come back, and it was just back and forth, and it was pretty wild. It was pretty incredible.
Well, obviously it was pretty wild. How about this? It was wild enough where Chad goes, yeah, I'm not doing this again. I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm going back into retirement, staying there.
Ben Rothwell was involved in a fight, and it was he looked so bad. He won. He looked so beat up and bad. And I heard him talk today. He said, you can't even believe how much my hands are hurting. Like, he's like, my hands are, I've never had sore hands in my life. He said, I think I blew out both my biceps at some time during the fight. I could barely throw my hands. He said it was insane. He said, I've been involved in mixed martial arts for my entire career, and I think it's more dangerous because you can have, bad things happen to your legs, to your knees, you can have a lot more damaging type of things. But Jesus, I don't remember ever feeling this damaged and beat up from any MMA fight I had, and it was nutty. It's so unbelievable, but I really think that bare knuckle fighting really actually will enter the realm of relevancy because of this card and who they had, the money they spent, the things that sort of emerged from it. It's taken a long time, many years, but I think I think they finally have really reached sort of a place where they can be talked about, and people will be looking forward to coming cards. They said they're gonna have like 4 big cards a year, and the rest will be just a minor variety. But they said they're gonna make a massive announcement over who is headlining the next fight, probably in the coming weeks. They were this close to signing Francis Ngannou, supposedly, but walked away after his demand. Supposedly he demanded 20 million for a fight, and they said that would bankrupt them probably if they paid that much. So supposedly one championship is really close to signing Ngannou right now, but his demands are pretty outrageous. And a lot of people are just thinking that one of those super fights is the only sort of place he can go if he's going to get the money that he's asking for.
Well, yeah, and it sounds like he's going to have to wait a while for one of these super fights to happen because the top heavyweight boxers are moving on with their plans, and he's waiting in the wings, so to speak. So whatever is going to happen with him in the boxing realm, I think there's a high chance that none of that happens this year. Yeah. Like he'd have to look at next year. I honestly believe that. I think the probability of that happening this year is not very high.
I actually think that I wouldn't mind that because it gives him more opportunity to learn the sport, be better at it. I don't give him much of a chance at any of the top heavyweights in boxing. It's just not a fair fight, really. But if he has another whole year to really learn the ins and outs and really has some proper sparring partners and good, coaching, getting him ready, I give him much more of an opportunity to do something that's not just going to be a walkover for some of these big fights that we've been hearing rumors about.
Exactly. Like if he takes the training seriously and he starts to train with the emphasis on it being boxing, then he'll actually be prepared and he won't look ridiculous once he steps into the ring. You know what I mean? So, and that's a good thing. Going back to Conor McGregor getting into the ring there.
Yeah.
Cool. It would be cool if that could happen, but let's be honest here. He's under contract.
Right.
So no.
Yeah.
Not going to happen. I'm sorry, BKFC fans. I'm so sorry, but it's never going to happen. Dana White will never allow that to happen.
Yeah. I wondered if the UFC, once they heard about this, they get mad, but it seems like Conor plays by different rules than all the other guys on the roster. So I think he usually just dances to his own drummer, and then he'll apologize for something wrong. He won't ask for permission. So yeah, don't you think he's always sort of played by different rules since he's come into the octagon and the UFC?
Since he's gotten his success, definitely, and especially after the Floyd Mayweather fight, where he made the company, I don't know how many hundreds of millions of dollars. So apparently if you do that, if you can make the company off of one event, hundreds of millions of dollars, you can kind of do whatever the heck you want. Yeah. And also you'll be Dana White's buddy forever. Doesn't matter what you do in your personal life. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if you're going to jail. We're tight. We're good.
Yeah. I heard a really great interview with Eddie Hearn over the last couple of weeks, and he said he ended up hanging out with Conor McGregor and just said, this is a guy that just walks into a room and you just feel excited that you're in his midst. He's just so fun to be around. He's so personable. He's got an energy about him that just electrifies wherever he is. And he was just super complimentary. And it sounds like Eddie Hearn and him are going to be working with Katie Taylor and working with some of the boxing promotions and stuff like that. I think Conor's going to throw some of his money behind a lot of it. He's going to obviously be a big sponsor with Proper 12 on a lot of mixed martial arts, boxing, whatever, a lot of cards around. It makes a lot of sense for him to be in that realm, but I've heard that he's interested in putting his money behind fighters and getting into promoting and stuff like that as well.
Well, no, it's smart. It's what he knows. It's what he knows best. And then also too, getting attached to a man of certain significance like Eddie Hearn. Well, you can't go wrong with that. Yeah, you just can't go wrong with that. That's smart business.
Yeah, very cool. Yeah. Okay, well, we've come to an end of an awesome episode of the Complete Sports Media. Tip-off has just happened in the NBA, so I want to send you off to get to watch some basketball. I guess I'll be seeing you this week. We'll go for lunch, and then we'll go watch some hoops, and we'll have an awesome day.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, and I'm hoping that the sun comes out for that particular day. I think it is. It's going to be great. It's going to be awesome. I look forward to seeing yourself, Joe, Stefan, making fun of Stefan. Yes, I look forward to it all.
Okay, buddy. Well, I'm sure we'll text a lot over the week, but thanks for doing this. Appreciate it, and enjoy your night. We'll talk soon.
All right, you too, and enjoy the game. Talk later.
Cheers. Good night.
Good night.
Okay, well, we've come to another conclusion of a Complete Sports Media podcast. Love it. Absolutely love it. Yeah, appreciate your support. Really thank everyone involved. We're starting to really get some great subscribers. We're like 10,000 something. Got lots of nice comments always on our podcast. A lot of good feedback from people. We're getting lots of good views too. Yeah, I'm consistently seeing over 1,000 views for each podcast, and I really appreciate the support. Thanks for everything, and we will see you very soon. Keep you tuned out. Watch Instagram. Go to our website, completesportsmedia.com, Complete Media Network. Arts, entertainment, food and beverage, comedy, lots of amazing things on there. So tell your friends, tell your family, become part of the Complete Media Network team. And we love you lots. We will see you very soon. Thanks for sticking in. And we will talk to you later. Bye for now.